So we're ready to begin with AOC, and I found out today that I know more English than AOC. That is strange, right? Because she should. That is her native tongue. That is her first language. How does this work? And I saw this. I had to check that this wasn't a parody account, says Michael Knowles. A leading member of Congress, a presidential contender, not only doesn't know the meaning of the word qualm, which I've said many times in this show, but seems to think it's a verb rather than a noun. Okay, so you see here, and she posted this, and that is still up. Intimidation is an age-old tactic to calm public dissent and outrage. Yeah, I remember many times that I've said that I have no qualms calling out people when they do bad things, or I have no qualms calling out bad actors when they manipulate or they do their narcissistic stuff. And I know for a fact that I'm using this word correctly. So yeah, at least in regards to this word, I know more English than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But yes, yeah, I think that quell. Thank you, Uncle Rad. I think that quell is the word that goes in here. I think that quell is the word that goes in here. I am not sure because quell is I remember quell, but that is not a word that I use that frequently. Yeah, put an end to a rebellion or other disorder, typically by the use of force. You're right, Uncle Rad 7777. Quell is what, so qualm, I can understand, but yeah, you can get that wrong. And by the way, I thought that it was nice to keep learning English, and I downloaded two things that could help me. One was a massive book of phrasal verbs, which I've always loved phrasal verbs. And yeah, I didn't know that English had so many phrasal verbs. Like, it has all of them. So it's going to take a while to learn all of them and how to use them, because if my job has to do with talking about things, the more vocabulary I have, it would be better, right? So phrasal verbs is one thing, and the other is idioms. I downloaded another book that is it's absurdly it's like this with English American English idioms. I need to limit myself to American for now, although I think that it includes some British stuff as well. And again, phrasal verbs and idioms is like they kind of overlap. It's like kind of overlap. You can say that some phrasal verbs are kind of idioms and vice versa. But again, English, and in regards to pronunciation, by the way, we have spoken about that, makes no sense. So that's going to be fun. But everything to make sure that you get the best shows. Yeah, she meant to say quell, Mr. Tony Parks. She meant to say quell, but you know that's something one can get confused. I can get confused as well. She was talking about this. This is the actual clip that she was citing. She doesn't say qualm in here, but this is what she was talking about. Just to listen to her.
They know that they can't go after all of us.
Sorry.
They know that they can't go after every.
I forgot the trigger warning with the AOC when she's speaking. I don't know that. I don't know what is worse, if AOC or Kamala, and it's highly likely that we're gonna have this combined forces of Kamala Harris and AOC for 2028. So brace yourselves.
Everyone with a cell phone, they know that they can't go after every single journalist who's trying to cover these stories. And so what they want to do is that they want to make an example out of one person that's highly visible or has a position of leadership like you or like Georgia Fort, in order to get people who are trying to do similar things to self-censor, to self-silence. to be afraid that, well, if it happened to him, then it could happen to me, so I'm not going to do it. Because they know that we outnumber them, and they know that they can't go after all of us.
Oh yeah, she was talking. I guess that she was talking about the fact that Don Lemon was, you remember, was arrested. He was talking about his arrest. I did not cover his words about the arrest because he was already released, but we know what he was doing at that church. Everybody knows that. Then they are claiming that, victimhood. How dare them arrest Don Lemon? How is this? This is some kind of fascism that we're talking about. And there's so many ways that they are trying to criticize the Trump administration, but at the same time, it is understandable. You are the opposition. That is basically your job. While you have another chance to come back, right? And that's why we need to talk about the midterms at some point. I'm only gonna tell you at this point right now that we are getting started with this today's show. Make sure you're in the United States. You needed to register to vote for the midterms, and some of those midterms in some states that's gonna start as they're gonna start very soon. I think even in March, something like that. So make sure that you're registered. Maybe you can register as a Republican, of course, and then you can unregister afterwards. And please do not pay attention to those voting deniers that saying that the voting doesn't change a thing. Voting does work. Voting is the way that we change things in our country. So make sure that you register for the midterms. And another thing that we could address is regarding Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This is only for entertainment purposes. if there is such a thing with her. This is supposed from 2022, like let's say 3 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago. In case you missed it, there's a nice video about recognizing a church on its 100-year anniversary. So what was, for some reason, I'm gonna mute this. We don't need to listen to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. For some reason that I have yet to understand, this video became viral in the past 48 hours on X, and I can guess. I can guess that you can guess why. You can guess why, but this is a problem with this kind of stuff. But I need to remind you and shout out to Derecha Endógena, who reminded me of this meme. Hear me out, Jesus. Hear me out, Jesus. As Thomas Sowell allegedly said, I don't think that he said this, but it is valid. Don't be fooled by big old socialist titties. They're meant to hypnotize, then enslave your ass. Yeah, we needed to keep our focus in what matters. And no, I don't think that he said that, but it still applies. But again, I would love to know what do you think about this in the comments. But my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Much love.